Patricia McNagny at her home in Columbia City on November the 12th, 2009 for the Oral History Project of Whitley County. And I am John Pontius. Thank you for having us here, Pat.
Happy to have you
Where did you grow up?
in Columbia City.
And where in Columbia City?
116 North Whitley Street.
Whitley Street. Okay, and is the house still there?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And what grade school did you attend on that side of town?
Well, at that time, I went to grade school at the where the regular school is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what activities did you become involved with in high school? The speech or?
Oh, yes. Debating
Okay.
and with Miss Bertha Thornburg.
Okay.
And, oh my goodness, basketball.
You played basketball.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I hadn't thought about that for a while, but
What was Mrs. Thornburg like? Miss Thornburg.
Bertha,
Bertha.
oh, fine lady, just a fine lady, and I liked her very much. She
Okay.
was my Latin teacher and my debate coach.
Okay. So when you were a senior in high school, did you have any idea what you wanted to do with your life?
Nothing. I had no idea.
Okay, and you went to college?
Indiana University
Okay.
at Bloomington.
Okay, and what did your father do?
He was an attorney in
Okay.
Columbia City.
Okay.
And he also was quite involved in the American Legion. He was State Legion commander, and he was quite involved with the Republican Party. He was the state Republican chairman.
Was he involved in American Legion because he served in the military service?
Oh, yes.
Okay, when was that? In the
First World
okay.
War.
Did he serve abroad at any time?
Oh, my goodness sakes. I don't know that he
Okay.
did.
Yes, he did, Mom. He sold
And-
war bonds, remember?
So,
Yes,
So-
he did.
okay. And later on, he became governor of Indiana
Oh, that's right. In 1944.
for 4 years.
4 years.
4
yes.
years. What circumstances led to his becoming governor? You said he was state Republican chairman. That was part
Yes.
of it.
And then also State Legion chairman. So in those two
Okay.
capacities, he had visited every county in Indiana and knew the people and
Okay.
had quite a background to go into the governor's office.
Okay. What qualities did he have that that he was able to become governor? Was he a good speaker?
Yes, he gave lots of speeches
Okay.
and he was, oh my goodness, it's hard to think back and give his qualities, but he was a very gregarious person. He enjoyed other people, and they enjoyed him.
So he probably enjoyed being governor then.
Oh, yes, he did. Very much so.
And so about how old were you when he was governor?
I was in college, probably 18, 19 years old.
Okay. Did you help with his campaign or help him in other ways?
I did not help him in his campaign, but while I was at Bloomington at the university, they were living in Indianapolis in the governor's home, and I would come up to help my mother with parties and so forth.
Okay.
She entertained the Columbia City club that she had belonged to, and my grandmother Edwards's South Whitley Club, the research club. And I came up, I remember, to help with that.
So your mother is from South Whitley,
Yes,
and her name was Edwards?
yes, Helene Edwards.
Okay. They lived, was it the big brick house in South Whitley that she lived in?
Yes, from the main intersection, it's 1 block to the west.
And it's still there?
Yes.
Okay. What was her other role in being First Lady of Indiana? Did she, was it mostly social?
Oh, well,
Did,
you mean was there any government role?
well, did she enjoy being
Oh, yes.
that? Okay.
Mhm. Very much so. She was rather shy, but she did enjoy it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I suppose your father being governor affected your life. It was a very exciting time for you,
That's
wasn't
right,
it?
that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And what did you do after you graduated from college at IU?
I talked to my dad. I said, Dad, I have a degree now in history and government, and what do I do now? And Dad just said, well, go on to law school.
Okay.
And I had not thought of that, so I went on to law school. And there were only 2 other girls in the law school at that time.
Okay. And were you the only one in your class? Only woman in your class? Or
No, there were 2 others.
Oh, just
Both
okay.
of them from Romance, Illinois.
Okay. Was that, did being one of only 2, was that more difficult for you?
No,
It wasn't.
no.
Okay. Who were some of your father's political allies here in Columbia City, his friends that he worked with, other Republicans? Did any of them come down to Indianapolis and help him?
Not moved down permanently, I don't believe.
Okay.
But of course, many of them did help him as far as,
Okay.
I'm sure, in his campaign.
Okay. Now, Jim Adams was a Democrat
Yes.
and prominent Democrat. Were they friends? Was he a friend of?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of man was Jim Adams? What was he like?
Well, I was a friend of his daughter. Mr.
Okay.
Adams was, I would say, very much oriented to business,
Mhm.
and I did not know him well, of course,
Mhm.
and that's about all I can tell you.
All right. Where was your father's office here in Columbia City?
It was above the Farmers Loan and Trust Company Bank,
Okay.
which is, I think they put in county offices there now.
So it's no longer there.
No,
Okay.
that's right.
And where was your office later? Was it at the same place? The
You
same
mean
building?
when
you were a lawyer?
Well, I became a judge, and I did not practice law for very long.
Okay.
I had an office in Cherubusco at the Point intersection.
Mhm.
And, but I became a judge and served as a judge for several years.
At that time, there were probably not many women judges in the area.
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but I guess there were none.
Okay. At that time was sentencing and dealing with offenders probably different than it would be now.
I don't know as much about it now,
Okay.
and I would say that it was not much different.
Okay. What kind of cases, when you were judge, were they mostly? Did they people that were arrested for theft or?
All over the lot as far as a variety of cases.
Okay.
And I would not be able to remember now what they were.
Okay.
I did not have any unusual cases as I remember.
Okay. Do you remember Judge Peffley?
Oh, yes,
And-
Lowell Piffling.
Okay. What was he like?
Oh, very friendly and gregarious, roly-poly.
Okay. And what happened to him? He eventually, while he was in office, did he die? It seemed.
I don't remember
Okay.
the specifics of that.
Do you remember other judges and at that time?
Oh, if I thought back, I could think of other ones, but I'm not sure right off. Not in Columbia City. Well, Judge Rob R. McNagny, who was my husband's uncle, was judge of the circuit court for
Okay.
many years.
Mhm. And so your husband was McNagny.
That's right,
Phil?
Phil Jr.
Phil Jr. And he grew up in Columbia City also?
No, he grew up in Fort Wayne. His father had lived in Columbia City and moved to Fort Wayne and was a lawyer with Barrett McNagny.
And he became a judge
My husband did, yes.
in some other area. He was not a judge here in Columbia
He was a
City.
judge in Hamlet.
Okay. And he would go up there during the week and be a judge and.
No, he lived up there.
Okay.
He was a federal judge.
Mhm.
No, let's see. I have to remember now.
He was a federal district court judge.
Okay. I remember McNagny that was an artist around here. Is that correct? There were McNagnys in town. The family was here in town.
Well, Rob McNagny's family, yes.
Oh, okay. And he was a lawyer too, or
A judge.
a judge too?
Yes, he was a
Okay.
lawyer.
Okay. Now you have what is it? A couple daughters that are lawyers now.
My daughters?
Yes, your
I
daughter.
have 4 daughters, and let's see, Julia's a lawyer, Elizabeth's a lawyer, and Marcia's a lawyer. 3 of them are lawyers.
Okay. Now your husband was a lawyer. Did he have was his father by any chance a lawyer?
Oh, yes.
So there are several generations of
Yes, that's
attorneys
right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after you were a judge, you just practiced law. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I served as a judge for quite a few years.
Okay. And what kind of cases in your practice were they? Any?
Civil cases. I don't recall criminal cases.
Mhm. And you continued with that for many years. Is that correct?
Well, I would not say many years because I had 4 children. I was pretty busy at home.
Okay. What kind of organizations have you been involved with in town here?
Quite a few. Parliamentary Law and Literary Club, a women's club, and oh my goodness,
Tri-Kappa.
a Tri Kappa sorority, which is also a women's group, and
You were on the library
And the
board.
church,
First Presbyterian
First
Church,
Presbyterian Church for,
Yeah. And I was on the library board for quite a few years.
okay. That was the old library that's no longer there.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Now, did you go to the same church all of your life?
Oh, yes,
Okay, you grew up in that church.
yes.
Okay. Now, did you have a home in on Crooked Lake
Well,
also?
we call it the cottage. It really is a home, but my father built it there on Crooked Lake. And yes, I do have that. I own that.
Is Crooked Lake special?
It's, I think, the nicest lake in Indiana.
Okay.
It is the deepest, I believe, and is just a lovely little lake.
Has it changed much since you first lived there, or had the cottage? Has the lake area changed much?
Well, there are many homes now around it, and
Many more
cottages.
homes.
Yes.
Okay.
When I was in my teens, there were not very many cottages there at all, but there are now, except for the North Shore. And I did, I guess you would say, lead a drive to purchase the Lily Stewart farm, which comprised the North Shore of Crooked Lake and was all wooded. And we saved it, and it is now an Indiana nature preserve.
Okay. So the whole north side is just woods with no.
Pardon?
The north side is just woods. It's
That's right.
No.
No, that's
no
right.
houses there.
Which is nice because it's a small lake, and it's nice to have that wooded.
Well, are there any other special things that happen in Columbia City that you remember?
Well, if I would
Events?
think about it, I would remember many.
I suppose one of the most special things was that has happened to Columbia City is having your father be governor.
I'm sure that was something special. Yes.
Why don't you ask her about Old Settlers Day when she was a child?
Okay. That would be interesting when you were growing up. What did you do for fun? You went to Old Settlers, I suppose.
Well, that was one of the things, yes.
What did you
Old
do
Settlers
there?
Day has always been special. And my mother always enjoyed playing bingo. And we would go to the bingo stand and play bingo, and that was fun.
And did they have these rides like the Ferris wheel at that time?
Yes, I'm not a great lover of a Ferris wheel. I don't go on those. Of course, they had the rides, the merry-go-round, and what else, I'm not sure.
So I suppose that you had lots of friends back then when you were growing up that you would walk around town with and go downtown and maybe go to a drugstore and.
Oh, yes, Marcia Daniel was one of my very good friends.
What would you do with her?
Well, I'd go up to her house. She lived in the large red frame house north of the Presbyterian Church. And we would go up to the school for debating at night. She was on the debate team, and so was I. And then we'd walk home. One night only, I noticed a car had gone by me several times. Of course, it was night. And then I saw it coming by a fourth time, I think it was. So I saw Mr. Yance, Fred Yance, who was a grocer, sitting in his living room reading the paper. And I walked across the street and turned the knob and walked in as if I lived there. And he said, "Well, hi, Pat," just as if I walked in every night. And I stayed there for about 15 minutes, and then I had another block to walk home, and he came out on the porch and watched me. But other than that, I don't remember any exciting times.
What did your father like to do for recreation or fun?
Well, Dad liked politics.
Okay.
I must admit that was his main
Did-
recreation.
Did he run for any local office or serve in any local office before being?
No,
Okay.
we did not.
And you had a brother.
Bob.
Okay. And was he involved in politics?
Bob was 5 years older than I was, and he was a lawyer, and he served with
Here in
the
Columbia?
law office in Columbia City,
Okay.
Gates and Gates.
Mhm.
And what was your question, whether he was in politics?
Yes.
Well, he was involved in politics, I'm sure, because he was a staunch Republican.
Mhm.
But I don't know that he held any office. I don't recall that.
Okay. And did he have children?
Yes, 3 daughters.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did any of those become attorneys?
Marjorie, Ann, and Marilla. No.
Okay. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you would like to add about the old times and how they were?
Oh,
Was Columbia City a good place to grow up?
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, it was much smaller when I was a child, but it's always been a nice town.
Do you think people back then were more interested in character and being honorable than perhaps they are now?
Yes, I would say. Mhm.
Okay. You were a judge, do you think that maybe there's more crime now than there were back when you were judge?
To a certain degree,
Okay.
not a great deal more, but yes.
Okay. And maybe it was a safer place for kids back then? Or has
I
the-
thought of it as a safe place, yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge of Whitley County for the benefit of the generations to come.
You're welcome.